Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Thank you very much for clicking on it. I really appreciate it. Today we are sitting down and having a watch of both MVs that AGUST, Sugar, Yungi, has dropped for his latest album release. I will be doing a reaction to the album over on Patreon later today, so if you're interested in my thoughts on that, feel free to come through. At some point I want to go back and re-listen to the first mixtape that he dropped and then do a reaction to the second one, because I never actually listened to that one. And it's been a long time since I listened to the first one, so that's going to happen at some point. I don't know exactly when, but at some point in the near future. But yeah, for now we're just going to listen to this one, have a good time, and yeah. But before we get to that, we have these. So we have two MVs that we're going to watch. We have People Part 2 featuring IU. This was dropped, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a couple of weeks ago. And then we have the title track, Hageum, or Hageum? Hageum, I think. Hageum. Which dropped, I believe, at the end of last week. I took a little bit of a break over the course, like, of the latter half of last week, to, well, basically take some time to process the news regarding Moonbin. But we are back, we're getting back into things, and I am ready to listen to these songs and watch these music videos. So, with that being said, let us get into it. Now, I haven't seen any teasers or anything in the lead up to this. I have no idea what to expect from either of these two songs, but I'm sure they'll be great. I'm sure I'll have a good time. Like, this is par for the course. I'm sure it'll be a good time. But let's get into it. We're going to start off with People. I may pause during these on first watch, as there are two of them. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. I may not. It may be fine. But let's do it. People Part 2 featuring IU. 3, 2, 1, go. I love that we got another IU collaboration. Love that that's a thing.
So time is here, now ride it, go. I know you know anything, just know. So time is here, now ride it,
Oh my god, my voice. The layering on that, on the vocals is beautiful. Love the little bit of guitar in the background. As always, the lyrics are always going to be stunning.
so far away, you're gone. Getting far away. Too far away, you're gone.
Beautiful.
I know I have to know, yeah.
Abby.
So time is here, now ride it, go. I know you know anything, just know. So time is here,
Love this chill R&B vibe for this song.
nobody doesn't know anymore.
당신은 무엇 때문에 슬픈 걸까? 사실은 두려움이 큰 거잖아. 함께 미래 그리던 우리는 없고 싸운 모든 성들을 부셔버린 것은
Damn.
우린 거야. 승패가 없는 게임이라지만 난 언제나 게임 loser. 모든 걸 주겠다던 우리 모든 것을 push. 그리고 떠나지 사랑이던 사람이든 모두가 이기적이기 때문이야.
So far away,
I love when we get a little bit of vocal from him.
getting far away. Too far away, you're gone. I know I have to know, yeah. So time is here, now ride it, go. I know you know anything, just know. So time is here, now ride it, go. To
Oh.
doesn't know
Oh, her voice. Always.
떠가는 사람, 떠가는 사람, 사랑의 뜻은 과연 무엇일까 수많은 사람 스쳐간 사랑은 사랑으로 완벽할까 그래 말야
I
이타적인
love
게
the little bits of the guitar. So nice.
널 위해 한다는 말은 곧 내 욕심이기에 욕심을 버리면 행복해지고 채우지 못한 반쪽짜리 허사 삶은 저항과 복종 사이의 싸움이라는데 내가 보기에는 외로움들과의 싸움이 내 눈물이 터져 나오면 그대 울어도 돼 당신은 사랑받기에도 이미 충분한데
Sometimes it's yeah, not right and go. I know you know anything, just know. Sometimes it's yeah, not right and go. Nobody doesn't know anymore. Yeah.
That was beautiful. Beautiful song.
대부분 다 뭐 사람들한테 전달하고 싶은 이야기도 있지만 나 자신한테 이야기를 하는 것처럼 들린다라는 이야기를 많이 들었거든요. 사실이기도 하고요. 그때 당시에 코로나로 여러 가지 것들을 할 수 없을 때 굉장히 모든 것을 잃어버렸다라고 생각을 했을 때 썼던 곡이기 때문에 나 자신한테 되게 해주고 싶은
Damn.
이야기였습니다.
Ugh. His brain. His brain. I swear to God. He's... I mean, I don't need to tell you guys know, but he just has such a wonderful brain. Wonderful artist's brain, you know what I mean? There's so much thought and so much feeling put behind everything that he does. He's like one of these people where you can tell every detail, every word, every little beat, and everything is done with such purpose, and everything is done to serve a purpose, if you know what I mean. Yeah, he blows my mind. That was gorgeous. Like I said, that chill kind of R&B vibe with his rap and little bits of vocals and her vocals. Ooh, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Anyway, that was a beautiful song. I don't have a huge amount to say about it regardless, other than I enjoyed it very, very much. I'm probably going to listen to it a whole bunch. So let us move on to the next one. Okie dokie, so now we have Hageum. As I understand, this is the official title track. I'll be very intrigued as to what this sound is, because obviously his previous titles for his mixtapes and stuff have been on the more aggressive side, on the more hard-hitting and punchy side, kind of vocalizing a more angry side of things. And then obviously this pre-release with IU is a much more, it still has that emotion behind it, but it's a much more laid back, much more, dare I say, chill kind of vibe. So I don't know, I'm intrigued as to what this is going to be like, what kind of sound, what kind of style we're going to get. Is it going to be punchy? Is it going to be angry? Or is it going to be more on the chill side? Or is it going to be some blend of both? I have no idea. Let us get into it. 3, 2, 1, go. Production value. Mwah. Hey King, you look amazing. I love your hair like this. Oh, I think it's gonna be punchy. I think it might be a bit punchy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. 이 노래는 해금. Yeah. 올라가봐 지금. Yeah. 복작되는 해금. 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금. 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 yeah. 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 yeah. 해석되는 자유 yeah. 개소리는 out yeah. 표현들의 자유 어쩌면 누군가의 조금 살고 한 자유 일런지
Is this basically like a modern story equivalent to Digita? Because didn't one of the versions of him in Digita have that scar over the eye as well? Sorry, I was so focused on theorizing I wasn't. Let me focus on these lyrics. Let me pay attention. I went back too far, but it's fine. He looks great in this like detective fit that he's got going on, by the way. Wait, that lyric. Wait, that lyric. Oh my god. Oh my god. Interpretation is free for all. Freedom of expression could be reason for somebody's death. Could you still consider that freedom? Ooh. Fuck yeah. Differentiate freedom from self-indulgence. Damn, okay. 또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 yeah. 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 쏟아지는 정보들은 상상의 자유들을 금지시킨 가동시의 사상의 통일성을 원해 왜 내 머리 앞에 각종 오이즈는 눈을 가리고 이제는 생각에 좌우조치 범의 각종 논란들은 판단들의 혼란들을 야기시키고 또 쉴 틈 없이 생산되네 과연을 금지시킨 건 무엇일까 어쩌면 우리 자신 아닐까 자본의 노예 돈들의 노예 중고심과 편견 혐오의 노예 유튜브의 노예 플렉스의 노예 이기심과 탐욕이 미쳐나지네 눈 감으면 편해 모든 게 뻔해 이득에 따라서 뻔히 갈리는 결의 시기와 질투에 다들 말해 눈들이 먼해 서로가 서로에게 족쇄를 거는 것도 모른 채 정보의 쓰나미에서 쓸려내려가지 말게 우린 자유와 방종의 차이지만 모두 구분하니 yeah. 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복잡되는 리듬 Mr. Sir, these lyrics. Oh my god. For a second I thought he was gonna eat that and I was like, oh please god no.
또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 yeah. 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른
Oh, that's very interesting.
이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 yeah. 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 yeah.
Oh. Giving Joker realness. Huh?
또 다른 해금
There's the scar. Okay. So yeah, it also says trilogy there, so they are connected for sure. Okay. Okay. Okay, hold on. There's a lot to process here. There's a lot to process here. Like there's the lyrical content, there's the MV itself, and there's the way that they connect. do I have the mental energy and bandwidth to like go through this with a fine-tooth comb right now? I don't know if I do. I really don't know if I do. Like, ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. Goddamn. I'm not gonna go through it with a fine-tooth comb, but I do want to at least talk about some of the thoughts that are circling in my brain, because otherwise they're just gonna stay circling in my brain and I'm not gonna be able to focus on anything else. It's been a while since I watched Detita. But if I remember rightly from the music video, it was similar to this in the sense that you have a corrupt figure and a of the people kind of person going head to head. In Detita, obviously it was going back to, what is it, like Joseon kind of era, like, you know, a much older era. This feels, honestly, just based off of style and fashion, it feels like a kind of almost like a 90s or a 2000s kind of vibe, like somewhere around there. It could also just be very modern, but regardless, it's a more modern take on that. But again, you have this dynamic between the two. And I can't... Did both characters have the scar in Detita? I feel like they did, but only the police officer has it in this one, which is interesting. I don't really know what that means yet, but we'll see. Also, I'm assuming this is part 2 of the trilogy. I don't know if part 3 is gonna be his next release, or if it's like another song on the album. If you guys know, you can tell me, but I'm assuming this is part 2, so we're not gonna have all the answers yet anyway. In terms of the story of the MV. But I do think it's incredibly cool and very badass that a big part of these stories he's telling is a somewhat ordinary person standing up to varying degrees of corruption. That's very, 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 very cool. I can't remember a huge amount of the lyrics from Detita, but knowing Yoongi and kind of putting 2 and 2 together, I would assume that it was... I don't think it was exactly the same. This feels like he's more addressing like a wider like almost societal thing. I feel like with Detita, from what I remember, it was more on a personal level of like various difficulties, injustices, blah 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 blah, all of that. But I can't remember for sure. But anyway, coming back to this one. The main thing that I want to talk about are these lyrics, man. These lyrics. Like, what he's talking about here about freedom basically being hypocrisy in a way, in certain areas of society and for certain things, like when he's saying about how like freedom of expression can get people killed, so is that really freedom? I like talking about how we're slaves to capitalism, slaves to money and all of that. Like, once again, man, this man's brain, what he thinks about how he puts it into music is just unreal. And I am endlessly impressed and amazed at the way he is able to very beautifully and very poetically put these pretty inflammatory statements into his songs without fear or anything like that. It almost feels like, go ahead, judge me, prove me right. Like, that's kind of what it almost feels like, if you know what I mean. And it's very inspiring, and it also, honestly, it feels validating, because a lot of the things that he's saying in this song, I'm like, yeah, I've had that thought many times. I have that thought several times a week. You know, like the kinds of societies that we live in, and the hypocrisies and the judgment and the greed that we have to deal with, especially from people in positions of power, it's wild. And I think it's interesting how with this MV, you know, we don't really get an introduction necessarily into why this character is doing what he's doing. Like, why is he robbing this place? Why did he just stab that man with a pair of chopsticks? Like, what's going on? We don't really get an introduction to that. And I feel like for a lot of us, our initial thought is to be like, oh, this is a bad guy. This is a bad guy. He's doing bad guy things, right? And you immediately have a kind of negative connotation toward him. And you see the police officer and you're like, oh yes, upstanding citizen, a police officer. Yes. Looking very suave in his detective gear, blah, 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 right? And he's, you know, clearly respected because the guy salutes him on the way out, blah, blah, blah. But then you get further into it, you know, he's burning the money. Again, a very Joker move, which is interesting. Maybe that's another reason why we might have some negative connotations, because some of his actions do feel quite Jokerish. Like, even like the chopsticks, we don't necessarily know if they were through the eye, but you think of the pen move in Dark Knight, the burning the money and then in sticking the head out there. But anyway, I think from the point that Officer Yoongi shoves his head in the water, and then we obviously have this whole segment. It's like, oh wait, no, this officer's corrupt. Like, there's some serious corruption going on here. And also, I want to double check something real quick. Where is it?
Okay.
¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? This beat goes fucking hard as well. Where is it? Right, yeah, this guy. I wanted to have a look at this guy's face. Okay. And I'm assuming he's calling... Yeah, he's calling police Yoongi. And then... Is it the same guy? It kind of feels like it might be the same guy. I think it might be, you know. It looks like very, very similar facial hair. I feel like it might be. I feel like it's a strong chance. Because I did notice he hands the gun to him. And he obviously doesn't try and wrestle it away from him. Yoongi hands the gun to him. And I'm like, that's interesting. So it's like some double crossing going on here. Which, even that in itself, if you think about the content, the lyrical content of the song, it's almost highlighting the hypocrisy, because he's obviously talking about, well, the music video is all about fighting against corruption and overcoming that and blah, 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 blah. And then you think about the lyrical content talking about the hypocrisy of freedom and, you know, being slave to capitalism, blah, 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 all the judgment, blah, 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 blah. This moment where, you know, there's a member, excuse me, there's a member of Police Yoongi's team, his goons, who's double-crossed him in order to serve the guy who's trying to overthrow him. Like, he's his own kind of corrupt. And I don't know, it's just a really interesting layer to that. Like, it's like double hypocrisy, but it's very much highlighting what he's talking about in the lyrics. I don't know. I'm super intrigued. I'm super interested. This is fucking great. And he's a genius. And whenever part 3 may be, I will be eagerly awaiting it and very, very excited for it. Anyway, I'm going to end this one here. You guys feel free to let me know some more info regarding what's the stories going on, anything that I missed, because I'm sure there's a billion and one things. And yeah, just let me know your thoughts on the songs, the MVs, all of that stuff. In the meantime, I'm going to end this one here. Like I said in the beginning, I will be checking out the rest of the album over on Patreon. All going well, it'll be later today. So feel free to come through and join me on that if you want to. And yeah, Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.